Social agent secrets.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today I am here with Jason Frazier from Shred Media, an awesome influencer who's provided so much value to me and so many others throughout the years. I'm just absolutely excited to be able to bring him here to the Social Agent Secrets Network and, have him share all of this awesome wisdom that I really latched onto when I saw you in person speaking at the 2020 Vision Conference here in Las Vegas a month or two ago. One of the things that you were talking about, Jason, was an awareness campaign. And video in particular, you had some really good insights that I've actually started to implement since I was a part of that training at the Red Rock Country Club here in Las Vegas. And today, I kind of wanted to focus in on that strategy. There might be one other topic I want to talk about, which is based off of a recent post that you put out last night about iBuyers, but that could be some bonus material later on. What I really want to focus on right here today is this awareness campaign.
Okay.
And, how you've seen it working for others, why you think it's so important for real estate professionals, loan professionals to start implementing into their business today.
Awesome. Well, first, I want to thank you for having me. Danny, we've been connected for a long time. Finally got a meeting, at the Mortgage Mastermind in Las Vegas. And so, excited to do that. And then also speak at the Vision 2020 event down in Vegas as well. So excited to be here, excited to talk to you about this. Obviously, it's a topic that I'm very passionate about when it comes to building awareness, because here's the thing, and everyone needs to really understand this, is that right now, everyone needs to understand this one key component, metric, fact, whatever you want to call it, whatever helps you dig this into your brain. That's what I want you to refer this as, is whoever gets to the consumer first is going to win, period. Right. And you guys may have heard Gary talk about this and other people talk about this, but that's what it is. Now, for some of you, it may seem obvious. Some of you mean well, what are you talking about? What it comes down to it is that attention is paramount, and whoever gets that attention usually is the one that's getting to the consumer first. And so everybody, whether you're real estate or mortgage, needs to be doing what we call consumer direct marketing. And you need to be doing that using interest-based content. And what I mean by that is what it sounds like, is that you need to be putting out content that actually is of interest to your audience. And so one thing that we talk about here at Shred is that, when it comes to marketing, is understanding that there's one true fact, and that is the fact that there's no such thing as a real estate consumer or a mortgage consumer. And now, if there's someone that is a real estate investor, then yeah, they would be a real estate consumer. But the people that you're generally serving are not investors. They're, John and Jane Q, residential, first-time home buyer, move-up buyer, downsize, transfer, whatever it happens, divorce, a life change instance, right? So your content should be focused off of that. Your content should be focused off of things that are happening in your market, the reason why people would move to we'll just kind of focus on Las Vegas. Why do people move to Las Vegas, right? What is around Las Vegas? Schools, parks, water parks, places to go, things to drive, obviously hotels, casinos, restaurants, everything that you guys have in Las Vegas. That's really what your content should focus on. Because at the end of the day, if all you're talking about is just listing, just sold, real estate this, real estate that, you're not going to keep people's attention long term. Because if I use you, Danny, you do an awesome job. You're the top agent. You did a great job for me, either selling or buying, representing me on the buy side or the sell side. That's fantastic. Now I love you. You're awesome. And I'm connected with you on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever. If all your content after I've entered into your sphere, right? Mm-hmm. After I entered into your ecosystem of attention, if all that is based off of real estate, I already used you. I'm not going to be interested in that content until probably on average, another 7 years, maybe 9 years, depending on my circumstances for moving there. I'm not gonna be interested in that. You need to be, in order to stay top of mind, it isn't just putting someone on an email drip. Everything needs to work in conjunction with another. Now, however, if you have a weekly blog series or podcast or something that talks about things happening around Las Vegas, I'm going to continue to stay interested in that, especially if I just move there, right? Because then I'm like, okay, well, I need to know, like, where are the places to go, right? I need to know, like, where are the places, the best places to eat, places to stay away from, places to take my, kids, family, certain casinos, the pros and cons, all that. You could basically create especially in Las Vegas, you could create a whole content farm off of stuff that people are actually interested in, people that are actually going to YouTube for, or going to Google and searching for, because this is the problem with, we'll just focus on agents, and this is the thing. Well, what does that have to do with real estate? What does that have to do with, mortgage or what I do? And the question is nothing. And you don't want it to do with that, right? You want it to, all you want is their attention, and you want to retain that attention. You want to become relevant. And then because we all know it's hard, right? It's hard to get the phone call. It's hard to get people to respond to text, where it's hard to get that when you're in that top of funnel or top, the sales, like getting to know you. Now, once they get to know you and get to know like you and trust you, once you've spent all that sweat equity and probably even actual money, like based on leads and everything, once you spend all that hard work to get them in there, the last thing you want to do is be lazy and have them go somewhere else for their attention, right? So you keep that, you talk about things that they care about, that keeps you top of mind long-term. You're retaining their attention, which is currency, which is the most important thing. But after that, is that whole top of mind isn't just about them when they decide like they want to buy or sell again or whatever. It's like when their friends or neighbors talk about it. It's when, first, because like I'm listening to your podcast, I'm watching your videos, I'm reading your blog reviews, I'm already there. So like when that conversation comes up with whoever is in that person's sphere, hopefully it comes back to you, because you stay top of mind by giving them content that they actually care about. I will tell you right now, if all you're talking about is real estate, there is no way for you to retain their attention long-term. There just is not. Now, again, people will say, well, I've gotten past clients, I've never done any of that. That's fantastic. But look at your database. And if you look on average about the retention of people when they actually use the same agent again, it's not a high percentage. And there's a reason for that, because we pass them off. Once we spend, we don't send notes, we don't call, we're not doing all this other stuff. We're just doing stuff that isn't keeping them top of mind. So that's where the building awareness comes in, and making sure that you are doing interest-based content. And we could get into that whole awareness piece of it. But that's why I wanted everyone to really understand is that from a foundational level, it's about attention, right? It's about attention. It's about getting it, and it's about keeping it. Period. And then the way you do that is with interest-based content. And so, getting into the building awareness part, what we, talked about at the Vision 2020 Summit is that building awareness is that if you're not spending at least $2 a day on Facebook, you are wasting a tremendous opportunity, because at the end of the day, building awareness is going to drive decisions for that consumer. And so if you're the person that they see you everywhere because you're running a constant $2 a day video strategy based off of what I just talked about in regards to interest-based content, like you did a great video after our conference where you went right in front of the future home of the Raiders and the stadium, and construction's right behind you, and you talked about Raiders, and you didn't say, hey, I'm a local agent here in Las Vegas and Raiders are coming to town, and so if you need to buy or sell or whatever, because that's what agents do. But what did you do? You talked about Raiders, and then you talked about, hey, I want to say it was maybe a Saints fan or Broncos fan. I can't remember what fan you said you were.
I'm a Dolphins fan. But
Dolphins. That's right, Dolphins fan.
Well, raised in Vegas, we've never had a team to root for, and now we have the Raiders coming. My family's from New York and then Miami, and then now we have a different team. So I'm conflicted a little bit, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in Las Vegas that might feel the same way, who have a different team, and now we have this new team, the Raiders, coming. And so it was a way for me to maybe produce some engagement, but get some honest feedback from others in our community. And that video, by the way, it got several thousand views. And It wasn't just the paid. There was a lot of organic because of the way that we did the video. And it wasn't really talking about real estate. It was about, like you said, something that might be interesting to people in the Las Vegas community.
Yeah, and that's important. Is exactly my point. Is like you didn't talk about real estate. You made it a question like, hey, for like you mentioned, you're a Fins fan, which is probably a bad thing this year. But well, that's another podcast, right?
Oh,
but
man.
you're talking about being a Finns fan, and then like, hey, the Raiders are coming in and we've never had a team, just like kind of how you explained it. And that is something that people will remember. That is some people will share. Like you said, you got a couple thousand views. And that is for the people that are in our mastermind that we teach this strategy to is like you did everything perfect. You used your phone, you did a vertical video, so it didn't look like an ad, it didn't look like a promotion. You're sitting there talking because those videos will far outweigh getting views more than anything else. You didn't talk about real estate. However, that's going to stick out to people, right? The more that you do that. And here's other people, thinking about like just consumer, but this is one thing that I talked about, at the summit, and something that I tell Danny all the time is like right now, just because we've been connected on social media, I've seen Danny's content, I've seen his videos, he's doing, this interview right here, is that every single time that someone has mentioned Las Vegas or real estate agent, there's only one person that I refer them to, and that's Danny. Right. And so I give them the website, I, shoot him a message, whatever it is, but that's it, is like now Danny to me is the Las Vegas agent. Right. And so that, when you have that mind share, right? And that's mind share, right? Like, that's it. Like when I think Las Vegas real estate, I think Danny. Right now, there's a lot of great agents in Las Vegas, but Danny has created that brand to where I think about Las Vegas and Danny. And that's simply, and it wasn't because Danny was sending me ads. It wasn't because Danny was sending me marketing about buying and selling real estate. It's because Danny was just putting out content and talking about Las Vegas, right? And obviously he puts in like, hey, we had an open house. He sprinkles in his real estate content. But I don't, like, there's literally nobody I follow, and this is the industry that I'm in. I don't follow people that just talk about that stuff because it's boring and it's not interesting to me, right? And they don't stick out, right? There's plenty of Las Vegas agents I've seen content on, but Danny's the only one that stuck out to me. And it's because he didn't do what everyone else is doing. And I'm a consumer just like everyone else. It's not like I'm thinking differently because I'm in the industry. Like I'm a consumer too, right? And so so everyone, agents, mortgage professionals, you need to take off that hat that you have as being a real estate and mortgage and realize, like, what do you respond to as a consumer, right? Like if someone's beating down your door or just peppering you with one thing, like casino ads, right? Casino, like that's going to get white noise after. It's going to get annoying first, but then it's going to become white noise because it's not going to be any different that you're hearing from anybody else. So that's why, spending the $2 a day, doing that type of video that Danny did. And, I know Danny could send out a link later or whatever, so you guys could see exactly because that video was textbook of what we teach on how you're going to build awareness. You could spend, $1 to $2 a day. The agents that are doing this are seeing an average of 1,300 views. They're spending less than $7 a week, and they're reaching about 2,300 people. Like that. If you guys don't think that is ROI positive, because look, when we talk about attention being a currency and ROI, like you can't look at this type of strategy as ROI in regards to like I do this and then I get a lead. No, ROI is anything that builds your brand and puts you out in front of top. And a lot of people won't do this strategy. Because they're thinking it's lead generation and that's it. But I'm telling you, if you do this and you do it consistently, this is how big brands have built. This is how Zillow, this is how everyone else, they did it at scale, right? They did it at a larger scale and they put, millions of dollars behind, tens of millions of dollars behind it. But that's what they did, is they build awareness, they keep peppering it. And this is the simplest, one is the simplest Facebook ad you're going to be able to do. And it's super easy to build awareness of your brand in a local market by doing this, because other agents aren't going to do it. It's a cheap way. It's putting your face on putting your face on billboards. It's being on radio. You're doing it, and you could do multiple videos of this and create great awareness of your brand.
And so you don't have to say, I'm a realtor, I've sold this many houses, and talk about yourself. It's just really about interest, but we're running it. So just for the kind of beginners and novices, I know that you're very advanced and there's intermediates and there's different levels of people who might be watching this video. This is a Facebook page that, like, for instance, I have mine, which is called Danny Fee Realtor, and it has my brokerage. And now we have to put our license number. But other than that, I'm not saying really anything else about real estate. So just the way that their Facebook page is titled will give them all the information they need to know for the fact that they're a realtor or a loan professional, just like myself, right? And that's the type of page you recommend running this from, or is there any other types of pages that that people can start or utilize that they might already have that would be just as effective? Just a real estate brand page. Is that okay?
Yeah, you just because you need to run an ad on it, so you need a business Facebook page, and so yeah, and you're exactly right. Like if you've done your branding right, your brand is going to be on that business page, and they're going to see that, right? They're going to see that video. The thing is, when you run an ad, and we all know when you're in the Facebook feed what looks like an ad and what doesn't. When you do the way that Danny did it, when you do it as a vertical video on your phone, and you're either walking or you got something behind you, it doesn't look like an ad. Now it's going to say sponsored at the top, but that's not where the consumer, or at least the human being, goes when they're looking through their feed. You need something that's going to stop the scroll. When you're doing vertical, it's going to look like a story. It's going to look like you're talking to them, and that's it. Like literally, that is it, and that is going to get them to stop to look, because it looks like you're talking to them, as opposed to behind your desk. You have it horizontal. You have the lighting just perfect. You have everything perfect, but it doesn't matter, because people are going to like, okay, that's a brand message, that's a marketing message, that's an ad. I don't give a shit, right? Like that's what it is. But if it's vertical, it's different, because that's what a lot of people are doing now online. And so, and I don't have them in front of me, but I did kind of a post of looking at the percentages. It's not even close, right? It's like 10 times more likely to watch a video, to actually tap on an ad when it's vertical video, as opposed to horizontal and all done perfectly. Consumers are sick of getting advertised to, so they just don't trust brand messages anymore. So how do you combat that? You don't do brand messages, right? You have your brand obviously associated. Like you have a shirt right now that says social agent secrets, right? Like have your brokerage on it, or your brand, your logo, or whatever, while you're talking. It's from your business Facebook page. There's ways to brand without punching. That's subtle to the consumer, but you're actually talking about content that they care about.
Yeah. And one other tip that I think is something that I didn't tell you I did, but I realized this would be perfect to do. Like normally, if I'm running an ad for just listed or just sold, it would be great for me to be able to share that into, a Las Vegas group of some sort, or various Las Vegas groups. But a lot of group administrators, they all say no spam, right? Yep. But one of the things that I did with that particular video, and I will drop the link to that video in the show notes and the caption section when we get this video out, is I felt like, well, this isn't really an ad, so I can share this to the Raiders groups. I can share this to the PSL groups. I can share this to all the Raiders groups. And that's exactly what I did. And not one of them took my post off. In fact, I got more comments on those posts within the groups than I did off of the actual ad. And it drove up the metrics. It drove up the engagement for the actual video on my real estate page. And so that's another strategy that I think, depending on whatever topic you're choosing, you can kind of use to drive more traffic, more organic reach to your awareness campaign and your awareness videos.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that's true. Like people are like, well, I try to share, and some people are out there, and again, not naming names, but a lot of people are out there like, just keep spamming groups, keep putting your stuff in groups, you'll get kicked out. It's like, that's just stupid tactic, right? Like we got to understand, there's a reason why our industry has a negative perception. And guess what? Here's the punchline. It's that shit that does it, right? Like that's why people don't like it, right? And so you just had the perfect example of like, look, you want to be able to get your brand in front of like buy, sell groups and groups that don't allow spam, and groups that will say, and like literally you'll look at some groups and they will mention agents specifically because we're notorious at doing that crap. But like, this is a way to get your brand in groups and have people, not only have people be okay with it, but have people like you said, comment, respond, and drive up your organic engagement. Like this is how you guys do it. And again, I want you guys, whatever you need to do, you need to go out in the desert and meditate or whatever to get it out of your mind. You don't need to just talk about real estate. You just don't need to talk about mortgage. Talk about stuff that people care about, right? All you need to care about is attention. All you need to care about is being top of mind, having that mind share. And you do that by remaining interesting to those people that decide to work with you. You do not do it by constantly selling them and spamming them with crap and there's no way they're going to be interested in that. None.
No, it makes perfect sense. Every 5 to 7 years, they do a deal. They don't want to hear about real estate every day.
Exactly.
So, I really appreciate that. And you know what? I might even put together a little step-by-step, or if you have a step-by-step of how someone could do something like this, it's actually really simple. And you don't even need you could actually run these types of ads straight from your phone. If you really wanted to, because, all right, so let's talk about that, because on the ad, when it says boost post, or if you have an ad manager app downloaded and installed on your phone, you can do it from there, I believe, as well. But you can choose what type of campaign. So is it for reach? Is it for video views? Or some of them say to get messages. What do you recommend as far as what type of strategy they should use when they're running the $2 a day ad, which is just ridiculous to think like you can get thousands of views for $2 a day. I used to own a mobile billboard company, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like the cost per impression is absolutely ludicrous compared to, direct and traditional outdoor advertising. $2 a day, what's the best type of video campaign or ad campaign for them to implement with this $2 a day strategy?
So video views, right? Look, and again, this is one of the things where agents, you're going to have to beat it out of your head. Don't worry about what I'm telling you right now is not a lead generation tactic. All right. So let's just get that out of the way. It's not for generating leads. However, it can generate leads. And we've seen it happen. In fact, at Inman, where I spoke and where you spoke as well, Danny, a friend of ours, Sue Pinky, was on a couple panels before I was. And she mentioned my $2 a day strategy and mentioned how she got leads and business from it, even though it's not a lead generation tactic. So but I just want everyone to understand that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is building awareness of the brand, which drives decisions, and decisions is doing business, right? So let's understand that as well, right? So you do video views, and I know you're going to want it like, well, I want them to send me a message. I want I want people to fill it. No, this is just building awareness. This is just them seeing your face, seeing your name, hearing your voice over and about a topic that people care about, right? So you're doing video views, and the reason why, and a lot of agents don't understand how Facebook advertising works, but the reason why you do video views is because, look, and a lot of people just like, hey, I want to boost for engagement because I think engagement's the same thing as video views. No, if you want someone to watch the video, Facebook, when it's a video views specific campaign, will put your video in front of people that like to watch videos. Right? If you want engagement like likes and comments, then you choose engagement, because then Facebook will put that in front of people that tend to hit the like button and comment on videos. Now, they won't watch the full video. You won't get as much push off that video because they're delivering it to the people based off of your objective. Your objective when you do a video, in my opinion, when you do a video, your objective should be to get people to watch the freaking video. So do video views. And like I said, this is going to be the easiest ad. And here, this is how you do it. You do a video view campaign. You go to the center of whatever your market may be, whether it's downtown Las Vegas or whatever, right? Or maybe it's Reno. You go to wherever, wherever the center of your market is. And then you do like a 20-mile radius or a 15-mile radius around that center of town, wherever you want people to see your face. And then you just run the ad. Right? You don't mess with age. You don't mess with demographics. If you do it this way, also, you don't have to worry about being put in a special ad category, because that's nothing to do with housing, fair housing, or anything else, because those generally get, denied right off spec now, because it's very hard to do ads in our industry now because of all the fair housing and Facebook getting sued by HUD. But this is a super simple way to do your ad. Now the first response I get, well, I don't want my ad going to 13-year-olds and stuff like that. Hey, newsflash, they're not on Facebook. Don't worry about it. The demographic that's on Facebook is the one that you want to reach, right? It's 25 or older, right? Those are the people you want to be in front of anyway. If they're not in the home buying process, they will be in a few years. So why not build that rapport and build that interest up at the beginning? Don't worry that look, the only younger generation, the only reason they get on Facebook is because either their parents make them get on Facebook or they get a job. And that's where a lot of people are doing, a lot of colleagues or they're building professional network. Then they'll get on Facebook. That's generally when they're going to be on Facebook, and it's going to be at the age when you care to reach them. Don't worry about that. Like, well, I don't want to go into 16 or 18. It's not going to happen. And maybe there's a few people on Facebook, but guess what? It doesn't matter anyway. You're going to reach the right people by doing this. And that's it. Video views, $2 a day, 15-mile radius around the center of your market. You do no targeting options. You do no demographic options, and you just let it go. And that's it. And basically what you're doing is boosting or running an ad to that video that, like, for example, if you did exactly the same video and posted on your business page like Danny did, and here, kind of backtrack a little bit, do that, wait 24 hours, then do your boost, or then run a video view ad. Let Facebook's algorithm look at your video and do some of the heavy lifting for you, and then run ad spend against it. And you'll see the results, right? I have yet to see someone do this and not see good results as far as reach and video views. And that's another thing. Everyone gets tripped up on like comments and likes and video views. Are those important? Yes, but so is reach. In fact, reach is the most important. Reach is like if you run any ads in magazines or newspapers or put your face on bus stops or anything else, that is reach advertising, right? And so for some reason, when we get into the digital, well, I reach, I want views, and like you're doing reach advertising everywhere else. That's important. So when I say that the average reach is 2,300 and that the video views are about 1,300, like that 2,300 reach, that means that's 2,300 people that saw your brand and saw your face. Now, they may have not watched the video, but who cares, right? Because you're going to want another video and then another video and another video. And eventually you're going to talk about something that they care about because hopefully you're doing interest-based content. And then they'll watch the video, right? But that's them seeing your face. Again, seeing you everywhere is seeing you everywhere. Don't worry about if they watch 3 seconds of your video or the whole video, right? That's a whole different strategy. We're just talking about brand awareness. So the reach number to me is the most important part of that. Yes, the video views of 1,300, that's great. But reaching 2,300 people as far as seeing your brand and your face and your name, all of that, for less than $7 a week, you are absolutely insane if you're not doing this on a daily basis.
And I 100% agree with you, just for the fact that I know what advertising used to cost. And this is why I'm so crazy about digital advertising and social media marketing and video marketing in particular. But you said something really interesting there that I wasn't really aware of. And it makes perfect sense. You said, let the video do its organic thing for a day before you actually boost it. And why is that? Is the algorithm going to help Facebook determine who to put that ad in front of after that first day goes by? Or what's the reason you recommend that part?
So before you do any ad that Facebook, and some people say, an hour to 8 hours, whatever. And there's a lot of back and forth between that. 24 hours is just, to me, is a safe bet that the algorithm will do its thing. Because the cool thing is that you can get sometimes, and this example, people will say that organic reach on Facebook is dead, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people have noticed that have done any type of Facebook, ads, or if anything, just Facebook content on their business page, knows that their reach and everything has gone down quite a bit since it's become like a pay to play. Yeah. But I'll tell you right now, on my business Facebook page, I do zero advertising on it, and I regularly reach 12 to 1,500 people per post. I'll get 20 some likes. That's just because I'm putting out the right content, right? So you never know when you put out that video. Let Facebook give you some organic push, because it helps that video score better when you run that ad. It helps you build an audience for when it decides like, oh, okay, well, we got some views already from this. We got some reach from this. So the cool thing is that when it comes down to it, the Facebook only exists because because people pay the money for advertising, right? And obviously, for other reasons, but as far as like monetary wise, that's why they exist. So Facebook, it's in their interest to make sure that when you pay for an ad, that you're getting the best response possible from that video. Because if you pay them $100 and you get shitty results, the chance of you paying them another $100 is pretty bad. So that's why Facebook is very particular about doing that. If you let the algorithm do it to see where that video is scoring better, and then you put some ad spin behind that, that also helps with the organic push of it. So the paid is one thing. That's why when you look at a Facebook video, it gives you both organic and paid, right? And if you get that pretty even, that Facebook organically is like, hey, this video is of interest. I'm going to show it to more people, because on the flip side, not only just giving you value and the money that you're spending to Facebook, they want the content that's on Facebook to be relevant and valuable to the audience. Because people, again, if they're on Facebook and all they see is crap that they don't care about, and they're not looking at anything, then people are going to start leaving Facebook. And that's already started to happen in a little bit, right? And that just happens over time with any network. But people are starting to leave Facebook, right? And so it's also in Facebook's interest that they're delivering content that is scoring well. So that if your video is scoring well, then they're going to show it to more people. Like, hey, people are interested in this. I'm going to show it regardless of what your ad spend is. So that's when I say that you're getting that reach for less than, even though you have it as like you have your budget set at like $1.50 or $2 a day, doesn't mean that Facebook's going to do it. Facebook is going to do what it does, but if it's getting organic reach on top of that, like you may not spend that entire budget. And so of course you are like, wow, I put $2 a day and I was expecting to spend 14. I only spent $8 or $7. That's awesome. That's amazing. And then understand that like, okay, well, I'm probably going to double down on that. And so Facebook knows that. They're like, wow, they got that great result. They're probably going to double that ad spend, triple that ad spend, whatever. And that's how the whole game works. So that's why you let it run for 24 hours to let the algorithm do the heavy lifting, score that video. And then when you put some ad spend behind it, it helps deliver it better to the right people.
So it really works two ways then. So Facebook can only do so much.
Yep.
They can help with their algorithm, but like you said, it's based off a scoring system. And the way to get the higher score is to kind of implement this type of strategy, which is an interest-based, awareness-based strategy that really doesn't have anything to do with real estate per se, but what's actually happening in and around your community, because that's typically what most people will be interested in on an ongoing basis, as opposed to something they do every 5 to 7 or 9 years buying or selling a home.
Yeah. Think about it as just talking billboards, right? Like you'll spend X amount of money to put yourself on a billboard. I know here in Utah, a lot of, mortgage and real estate people put themselves on billboards, but people are like, well, yeah, you're not saying anything. There's no real estate message per se. It's just you, some sort of saying your brand, and they're just seeing you. This is the same thing, except there's video involved. So there's way more. And not only that, but then like, hey, I'm interested. Like I'm watching the video on the Raiders and guess, Danny's sharing it, but guess what? Maybe I'm an older Raiders fan and I'm thinking, shit, California is way too expensive now, especially in the Bay Area where I'm from. And guess what? One of the metro areas that has been growing, that has been getting a lot of California expats, Las Vegas, right? So if they're seeing Danny's video in that group and they've decided like the Raiders are moving, I'm getting up in my age, I'm deciding, you know what? I'm going to retire to Las Vegas. Guess what? If they're watching Danny's video, the chances of him getting that business is greater than if he did no content at all, right? It's greater than if he did something that he's never going to get in that group anyway, but he's talking about the Raiders. And guess what? What if hey, there's other people that are moving to Las Vegas. Hey, I just moved to Las Vegas. I met this guy, Danny. He did a video about the Raiders moving, and check him out. So that's where this is. It's a long game, right? I'm not saying you do this video, you're going to get leads and that's going to happen. I'm just saying you do this consistently, you will see a push in business, because guess what? Eventually you're going to retarget that audience, or you're going to do an ad that's based off of, hey, check out my home, send them to a home val site, right?
You know what? And that's a topic I wanna bring you on for a second show about retargeting, because that's what I wanted to get into. Is like, now you're getting all these video views, you're getting likes on your videos, which, by the way, if you want to increase the amount of people who actually like your page, just go on to each post that you do with your weekly video, and whoever has liked your video, Facebook will actually give you an option to invite them to like your page, right?
Yep.
And so you're able to retarget these people later down the line after you start getting this engagement, which is something I definitely want to delve into, maybe on a later topic. But one thing that really sticks with me about this particular strategy is how we didn't mention this. How often should somebody be doing these types of videos where they're spending $2 a day? Should it be a week, every other week, once a month?
They should be doing it every single day. Like every week you should be running a different video. Now, and the cool thing about this is that once you start doing this, it eventually there's a larger strategy to doing this, where you eventually are doing like what we call like a 3x3 strategy, where you're doing like one that's based off building awareness, one that's based off of engagement, where you're asking them to do something, and then third is basically some sort of conversion ad to where like, hey, see how much your home is worth, or something like that. You're basically doing that, and that's based off of retargeting or just running an ad to that audience as well. So there's different ways of doing that strategy. But you should be doing this every single day. And the cool thing is that once you do this for a little bit, because one of the biggest things that I hear from agents, like, well, I don't want to have to create new content all the time, blah, blah, blah. If you do that, like that, let's say that Raider video just, was like monstrous and that was your best performing video, guess what? You wait a couple weeks, then you redo that same video again. You have basically a greatest hits album that you're creating based off of videos. And you're like, this video sucked, didn't do shit. This video rocked it. This other video was okay, but was pretty good. This video rocked it. And then what you do is you kind of recycle those and keep putting those out and then running ad spend against that. And so that way you have like a greatest
Would
hits.
you use the same video or go to the site again and just shoot a new video, maybe on an update?
No, you use the same video, right? Or you do an update to that video. Yeah, because you know that topic hit, and so maybe you do something different. Or like, let's take your video for example. Like that was what, a couple months ago that you did that video, and like, hey, you know, a couple months ago I was here at the Raider Stadium. Look how far it's come in the last couple. You know what I mean? Like, so you could do something like that, you know, or whatever. Like that's how you get kind of updates, stay on topic. Or you just simply do that video again.
4,000 people reached on that video.
For how much?
And 1,200 through plays, meaning a through play means they watched the
100%
or 10 seconds or more.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then how much did you spend on that?
$14. Yeah.
So I would
$2 a day for 7 days, and then I do a new video the next week, like you say, and just do another $2 a day. And basically I'm shooting for once a week. Like right now, just to give you guys out there who might be listening to this podcast right now, my next video is most likely going to be going to the pumpkin patches around town and talking about that. When Christmas comes up, you know, all the different places you might be able to enjoy Christmas lights. There's around towns all over the nation. And that is, I think, really important too, because next year when it comes up, I'll have those videos already going. Or I'll be able to just turn the ad spend right back on those, because a lot of these pumpkin patches or lighting events for Christmas, they happen at the same places every year. And if they change a little bit or something new comes up, you just do another quick video. It's literally like 2 or 3 minutes. You drive down there. I take out my phone. I do vertical. See, I used to do landscape. When I saw your training, I was like, well, that makes sense, because when people scroll, if it's vertical, it'll take up a majority
most of the screen. Yep.
That's the reason for, that's one of the reasons for that, I'm assuming, right?
Yep. Absolutely. And when they tap on it, it takes up 100% of the screen.
Open up the camera app and I record it. Usually it's one take now, but in the beginning it would be a couple takes. But do you recommend just doing that and then uploading it, or is it better to go live, or what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I think, you know, as you build an audience on your page, go live every once in a while, because you could also run ads against those as well. But you know, at the beginning, a lot of people are a little, apprehensive about going live. So just, shoot it so that way you can edit it, or if you screw up. And guess what, guys, look, I speak on this as part of like my job now and careers. I did a promo video for an event that we're going to be at in Las Vegas and Fuse next week, the 11th and 12th in October. We're going to be down there for another so look, so don't, like, you're going to screw up. Let's just get that out of the way. You're going to mess up. You're going to screw up. You're going to hate the way you look. You're going to hate the way you sound. Welcome to the club, right? Like, that's just what it is. And so, but it takes time to do it, but just do it, get comfortable doing it, do the vertical video, be on locale. And I'll tell you, like, these videos, they work. Like, Danny was perfect mentioning, like, best place to see Christmas lights. Now, the cool thing is that then you could repurpose that content. You could purpose it like Instagram story, Instagram TV, repurpose it as a blog post, right? Saying, hey, here's a video I shot, but also here's basically the writing of the places I went, how to get to them, link to them, talk to other local bloggers or even hotels and tag them in those posts. And like, I've seen that happen too. Is like you tag a location, a restaurant or a hotel. I've had that. Actually, I had, where was it? Aria shared out some of our content because we tagged them on it to their audience. So like, people will do that too, because that's good marketing for those brands. And so like, you have no idea how much those places could go, especially if people are in town for Christmas and they've never been to Las Vegas during Christmas, they have family or whatever. Like, I wonder where the best place to take lights is, right? And then they Google it, they look on YouTube or whatever, and there's a blog post, there's a video. Like, there's so many ways to repurpose that stuff.
And it's all about awareness. So attention, you guys, is the currency of today's age. And the best way to do that is to just show up consistently on video and come from a place of contribution, which means not necessarily talking about real estate, but talking about interest-based topics that revolve around what's happening in and around your community. And yeah, of course, there's a lot of things happening here in Las Vegas. But there's a lot of things happening in every city, in every town, in every community. And all you have to do is find what's going on and talk about it pretty much.
Yep.
All right.
100%.
Well, hey, Jason, I truly appreciate you taking the time to come in and share all of these insights for the listeners in our group. I'll be sure to tag you in this video when it gets posted everywhere that we put it. And, what can we do for you, or what can anybody do to find you, or like, how can we help you out at all?
Yeah. So, I mean, just, hey, find us at Shred, we're Shred Media on Facebook, Shred Media Co. on Instagram. Both Josh and I are on LinkedIn. Honestly, like, I'm on TikTok, the snarky marketer on TikTok. I have my Jason Frazier page. If you Google Shred Media or, my name, Jason Frazier, you'll find a ton of stuff. I have a podcast, one that's coming out called Originator X. I have the Shred X podcast. I have the Mortgage X podcast. But hey, just join the Shred Media Mastermind on Facebook, that group, and then we also have the online, which is the feeder into our off social media online network called the Community, where we, for example, stuff we give out to the members of our community. It's free to join; it doesn't cost anything. But like, for example, we do what we call MC30, which is we do 30 pieces of content. So we do free content that you could use and share out. That's optimized for mobile and desktop for Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So you get free content to post and use. You get ideas. We do marketing tips in there. Basically, one of the cornerstones, founding principles of Shred is to champion the local real estate and mortgage experts, not the online stuff, but the local experts in the market. And so if you want to be part of that movement, if you want to learn how to reach the consumer, from the modern consumer in the modern era, then you got to learn about what we're doing with what we call AIR, which is attention, impact, and relevance. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, Shred stands for show up, hustle, repeat every day. So if you want to have that top producer mindset, you want to be in a community with other people with that mindset that want to crush it, that want to own their market and want to dominate, then Shred Media is all about that. If you don't, plenty of other networks and other places for you to go for that, but we're really for people that want to take their business to the next level.
Absolutely. So one of the best places to start then is going on Facebook and just typing in Shred and joining that Shred Media Mastermind group, which will help lead into all of those other things. So we'll definitely be dropping a link to that. Maybe we'll talk about the iBuyer strategy or that post another time, unless you quickly want to touch on that
just real quick. I know, we've been going a while, but just real quick, for the iBuyer thing, one is everyone needs to look at, so I'll tell you, so it was episode, episode 54 of the Shred X podcast, which is available on all podcast channels, or you could go to shredmedia.com/podcast. But it's with Jason Cassidy, who's a realtor for Compass in San Diego. And he rolled out his own iBuyer program, not Compass sponsored or anything, but just his own personal iBuyer program, because there's great opportunity in doing that, right? As an industry, I know we want to shake our fists and howl at the moon about iBuyers or whatnot. But look, let's understand, you need to be an advisor and you need to provide education. So you should be giving iBuyer quotes to people so that they understand the difference between the value of a listing agent, right? Traditional listing agent at 6%, 3% buy, sell, whatever, however you want to phrase it. Yeah. But go in there saying, hey, this is what you're going to see from Zillow. This is what you'll see from OfferPad or Open Door. But check this out. Like, that's going to be like 12 to 15% if you use me. And give them the options, because if the consumers want that option anyway, they're looking for it, right? And if you want an example, here's some stats. In the Phoenix metro area, in just 4 years, Open Door has 8% market share for a model that agents by and large said would never work, that consumers would never be interested in, and now they have 8%. Now here's a stat that should really, really, really slap you across the face and wake you up, is that in the Phoenix metro market, which is basically kind of like ground zero for all this stuff, 40% of sellers will get an iBuyer quote before engaging a traditional listing agent. That means they're getting that iBuyer quote first, then they'll go to a listing agent. And then the stat is that it's close to 70% overall will get an iBuyer quote. So even if they engage with a listing agent, they'll still also get an iBuyer quote for selling their house, right? That is a lot of attention. So instead of fighting against it, go on the offense, right? There's no point I'm trying to defuse a bomb that's already gone off, right? It's already there. Talk about it, show why your value prop is better, why your chance of success of selling your house is best with you as a traditional agent, as opposed to going to an iBuyer, and show them the stats, show them the information, give them the education. Don't fight against it. Don't hide against it. This is what Jason's doing. And this is how you look, every agent tells me like what they want the most is listing, right? Listing appointments, listing leads. This is how you do it. Talk about iBuyers, do landing pages on iBuyers, partner up with investors to get them iBuyer quotes. And you're getting that lead because, as Jason's finding out, look, some people are interested in it, but guess what? They're coming to him to list the house.
And that's so true. I learned that lesson about a year ago when I had a client who really wanted a particular home. Really wanted it. And this happens. So there are certain cases where it does make sense because
absolutely. Yep.
It's all about demand and what a person's desire is. And if they really, really want a particular home and it's not going to be available for too long, but they still have to list their home, prepare it for sale, put it on the market, and wait a little more time than what they would have to do if they chose an iBuyer or an institutional buyer. Sometimes it might make sense after you do your fiduciary responsibility and compare the two. Hey, this is what you can expect a traditional route. Here are all these different quotes that I got for you from the various iBuyers and institutional buyers. Let's see which one makes sense. If you do this, when we write the offer on that home, we could show them that you're going to close in 10 days and you'll be able to buy this home if we do the traditional route. I can't honestly guarantee that, and I don't know if that home will still be available. There's just different cases where it could
absolutely
make sense for people. And if you're not providing the information and you're talking bad about it, they're going to be curious anyway from what I understand and what I feel. They're going to be curious anyway. And if you're talking bad about it, they're not going to go with you. They're going to go find out for themselves. Maybe they'll come back to you down the line. But if you're there open and talking about it and actually providing options and still having a fiduciary responsibility to these people and including what it means for them financially to consider one of these iBuyer offers or institutional buyer offers, match it up against a traditional route, you're gonna keep their trust and you're gonna be that person who wasn't throwing stones, but that person who was open and taking a look at what options, exhausting all options for your clients, because that's really what we should be doing as real estate professionals, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, and not only the listing lead, but guess what? Like if they come to you because they're interested in getting someone to an iBuyer to buy their house, but they got to buy another house. Guess who's going to be their buyer's agent, right? Guess who's first in line to do that, right? So look, guys, that's why episode 54, you're going to hear Jason Cassidy, who's a top agent in the country. The dude knows his stuff.
And that guy is good at video too. I've seen his on Instagram.
Yeah. So the guy is top notch. But look how he's turning that into an opportunity, because look, iBuyers are coming. If you're in a big market like Las Vegas, that's going to be part two. Right? That's already starting to happen with some of these companies like Austin, Dallas, Tech. There's Nashville. Like these are the markets that are happening. So if you're in a market, especially a market that is very hot, that people are moving to, guess what? iBuyers are coming to a theater near you. So get dressed. Either be a part of it, show them, and be in front of them first, as opposed, because guess what? If they go to an iBuyer, you're not first in line. You're hopefully second, third, or maybe not at all. But if you're the one giving that option first, then you're right front and center, and then you get to articulate your value prop and why their best chance of success is to use you.
So on that 3x3 approach you were talking about earlier, one of them was for awareness, one of them was for engagement. The third one was kind of real estate related. Maybe this could be a topic that they could be talking about for that strategy on that third type of video. Is that 100%? Right? So you guys get used to making video, get over yourself, get out there. Awareness and attention is the name of the game. Jason, real quick before we go, I have one question for you. Before you ever made your first video, and you decided like that, I always ask this question on the show, like what was that deciding factor where you realized video was the way to go? And what kind of emotions did you have? Did you have any fear? Did you have, any anxiety? And how did you get over it? If you can kind of encapsulate that in a minute or two.
Yeah. So, It's really started watching Gary Vee and Katie Lance, who we both know, a good friend of mine. She gave me his book Crush It, and I read that. Mostly really talking about blogging because I like to write more than I like to do video, and it spoke to me, and so I decided that to create my personal brand, and I started that as a real estate CIO back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to social media marketing world in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, I built a pretty big rep on Snapchat, and that's kind of where I got started with doing like daily video and everything else. I'm not still to this day, I'm not a fan of video, but like I heard Gary Vee speak. I got to talk to him a little bit after his keynote, because he hung around and just talked to people, and I decided to go all in on my personal brand. And I was an idiot on Snapchat, had no idea to use it. I had to have the guy that came with me, that is our social media guy for our company, had to show me how to use Snapchat. And so I just went all in on that, which was one of the best things I ever did, because it helped me build a brand, helped me create it, meet different people, even, really good friends. It was a catalyst for what I did to become a speaker and everything. In fact, it even culminated to me speaking at Gary's own conference earlier this year at Agent 2021. So I was nervous. Again, I always say I have like a face for radio. So like I was not, that wasn't my, I was nervous. I screwed up a lot. And it's funny because I could have conversations like this, like, because we're just having a conversation.
Yep.
But if I literally like took my phone out and tried to do this thing on video, it's going to screw with my head. It's going to change the way I deliver. And I'm going to end up, instead of looking, at the little like dot, I'm going to end up looking at what I'm saying and how I look. And then that's why you see people are like messing with their hair all the time. Like, I'm doing that. I'm getting the angle, the filters. But at the end of the day, guess what? When you're meeting people in real life, there's no filters, there's no angles. That's just how you are. That's how you look. That's how you sound. Get used to it. And so I just it's a cliche, but I had to find it within myself to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
And you did it. And
I did it
every day, pretty much.
Yeah, every day.
Well, good, man. So there's a reason you're doing it every day, and that's what we tell people to do. Show up every day, show up on video, provide value. And I just want to say again, thank you for joining us. We're creeping up on an hour now, so I think I'm going to break this into 2 parts, and it'll be part 1 and part 2 on Social Agent Secrets coming up next week. Jason, truly appreciate your time. I'll let you get back to work, and you have an amazing day, okay?
Thanks, brother. I really appreciate you having me on.
Social Agent Secrets.
Hey, do you know you want to start implementing video in your real estate business but don't know where to start? Do you have a desire to start attracting your dream clients and know that crafting your attractive digital agent persona will help you do that faster and more effectively? Well, we've put together a challenge for you, and it's almost ready to be released. The Press, Record, and Publish Challenge will be available soon. This training will transform you. Accept this challenge to get into the habit of creating simple daily videos that will supercharge your real estate business with your phone, text, and DM inboxes blowing up with requests from your dream clients to hire you as their realtor. So how do you get started? Go to socialagentsecrets.com and enter your name and email address right now. That's it. We will notify you when the challenge is launching so you can take part in this transformational experience.
Social Agent Secrets.